Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for coming to my webinar. Can't believe it's April 3rd, springtime in some places. It was a blizzard yesterday, and then today was blistering sun where I'm at. So I'm just trying to navigate the incoming spring. Trying to get outside as much as I can. I'm super happy to be here with you guys and get to talk with you more about Talkatoo. It's nice to see some friendly faces, and I know some of us haven't talked to you, some of you guys in a long while, so good to have everybody here. And the agenda for today, I'm going to walk you through a refresher of AutoSoap, how to record on mobile and desktop, and then I'm going to walk you through the refreshed UI for the desktop note inbox. So there's been some changes on the desktop app that are going to make your life a lot easier. Going to talk to you about template options, custom templates, updates to our default templates that you might be using now. Some cool stuff came out today. And I'm also going to talk to you about how to train the AI vocabulary, which is a brand new ability that we all have now. So excited to walk you through that. I have some tips for you on recording, whether you're doing it from a laptop or from your phone. And then we'll talk about client communications, discharge summaries, the default ones Talkatoo will make, as well as how to make your own more custom discharge summaries. And then if we have time, we'll look at call recording. And of course, we'll have time at the end for questions. You can come off mute. And at any point in time, if you think of a question or something doesn't make sense, or you want to know something, just drop it in the chat and I'll kind of address it over the course of this call or at the end. So let's begin. And again, there's a poll running. If you see the poll, feel free to answer yes or no to it. And yeah, let's jump in. So the problem persists. We're all still here. We're all constrained day to day writing records. We get pulled in 100 different directions. And technology is really only one of the best ways to get us out of this. So we need to leverage technology as best as we can. We have to stay ahead of our schedules. And so that's why we've built these tools to help you. And if you don't know me, I'm Jamie. I've been doing these webinars for about a year now. So nice to see you. And our mission is to give you back time in your day. So that's why I'm here on this call. And we've built a bunch of tools to help you gain back that time. And I want to first start by showing you just a quick refresher, because not everybody on this call is using our new AI features. Some people are still using just dictation. So I want to refresh you just on how easy it is to use our AutoSoap feature. So whether you're doing it on mobile, being like your tablet or your phone, or you're doing it on desktop, you can record an audio file, your whole exam. And you can do this from desktop or mobile. And we've just refreshed our desktop interface to mimic our web app, which offers some new functionality. So if you're recording mainly on your phone or your tablet, this doesn't affect you right now, but the same changes are coming to the mobile app. For Android, it should be before the week is over. And for iOS, it should be the following week or shortly after that. But we've brought them first to the desktop inbox. And so the first thing that you'll notice is your inbox looks a little bit different. And so now instead of two folders, you have the filters section here. And this mimics our website. So if you're looking for your notes, you can filter by status. You can check them off as completed or archived. And you can also search by title up at the top. And you can also title notes that have been submitted. So you can change the title after they've been submitted. These are all some great updates to the desktop inbox, which you can open up by clicking your gray plus sign. This is where all your soap notes live, of course, and you can generate these soaps from the desktop app or from the mobile app. The best part of this update, if you're using desktop recording, is the refresh button. So there's now a button there to refresh your inbox. And if you've been using desktop recording, you're probably familiar with your inbox getting out of sync, which can happen on the old, could happen on the old version. So the refresh button is a new button to get to know, and definitely if you've been using it and you don't see this, go ahead and update your desktop app. So just quit the app on your computer, click your three dots, click quit, and by the time you open it back up, you should have the update. So desktop note inbox redesign. And this is coming to Android in the next day or so. So if you're used to looking up draft notes on your Android device and adding to them, you'll see this same layout there. Some other changes here are you can now copy the note without opening it. So just from a glance, you can copy the note, and you can also complete and archive the note here as well. And you can still do that when you open the note up, of course, as you could before, but now you've got a quicker way to do this. So as your inbox fills up, you've got more, you've got quicker actions to take. Awesome. So let's see. Recording tips. If you're recording on desktop, one tip for you if you're in a practice with multiple users using Talkatoo, when you pause your note recording, now that you can title your notes here, just stick your initials on here and maybe the patient name. And that way when you submit the note or you back out of the note, you've got a clear indication as to who recorded the note. And that's a great tip for anyone who's struggling with finding your notes or like signing in and out of the desktop app. So title your notes, and you can do this on mobile as well, but this is a really great trick for people recording on desktop in a practice with multiple users. Just stick your name on there. Awesome. And for those recording on mobile, some feedback that I've been hearing a lot lately is the name or the patient name specifically is sometimes incorrect. And if that's the case, it's very helpful to start your recording in the hallway before you enter the exam room and just rattle off the signalment and any other details that might pertain to the end result that you want included. So starting your note up beforehand and just starting with patient name and owner name is a really handy way to get that stuff included. And I'm going to show you some cool ways to make a discharge summary in a little bit. And if you were to include patient name, owner name, and any other details like phone number or anything that you want included in the summary, this is really, really handy. So there's a couple recording tips from desktop and from mobile. And now I want to talk to you about template options. So many are still using default templates, which as of today have been updated with some pretty cool updates. But you'll see in my list of templates, I've got many templates. And you can actually create your own templates, or you can pick from our default templates. Some big changes came to the default template options today. And the first big one is a refresh on the assessment section. So if you're using AutoSOAP as your preferred template, you'll now notice the assessment section is a little bit smarter. So what we've done is we've tuned the AI to group the information into subsections. So just with the standard AutoSOAP template, it can now create problem lists, rule outs, differentials. It can put in diagnosis. And so it can kind of pick things apart and create a more detailed assessment for you. And in the past, the only way to really achieve this was using a custom template, which you would pick on your preferred device, whether it's desktop recording or it's mobile recording. But now the default template can do this stuff for you. So a stronger assessment section, which has been heavily requested. So if you use AutoSOAP as your preferred template, you might notice some improvements. The other thing I want to call out while we're here, we're in the web app currently, which is where many people come to retrieve their notes. in the web app, there is a regenerate button right here. And this is really handy if you've never used the regenerate button. For one, if for any reason you got a poor result, you could try regenerating it. So that's the first use case. The second use case is by the time you've recorded an appointment, you've captured a lot of audio, enough to make a nice looking SOAP note that goes in your patient file, but also probably enough to create a set of take-home instructions or a discharge summary. Talkatoo provides one at the bottom. This is the default summary for the client. But you can actually get more granular with this, just like you can get more granular with your template. And so if you were to make a custom discharge summary, you could then pick it here from the list, and you could convert it by regenerating it. And I'll show you what that looks like in a bit. The other major change that we pushed to our default templates being the equine SOAP, the auto SOAP, and the simple SOAP, of course, but doesn't apply for this, is enhanced logic around your normal values in the objective section. So hopefully if you're using auto SOAP, you may have come in here and customized your auto SOAP template. And again, this is just the default template. So if you haven't ventured into custom notes just yet and you're using the default template, you can plug in your own normal values here, of course. In the past, we've got feedback that the normal values could be swapped out for basic language, maybe comments you've made for the owners to help the owner understand like what's going on in the physical exam. So we've updated the logic around how the normals generate. And now if nothing is detected for a body system, we'll keep the default text. If something is said or heard by Talkatoo and it's considered non-significant, the default text will stay. So your normal will stay, and the non-significant text will be appended. And so what this means is you shouldn't lose your detailed normal values for basic layman's terms anymore. Instead, it'll be tacked on to the end. And then the third scenario is if something significant is recorded during your audio recording, then of course your default text will be replaced entirely. And so this upgraded logic around the normal values is going to help you make less edits to the final result. So we're super excited to hear what you think of that as you start using it a little more. And if you're using a custom note, which I'm sure many are on the call, this doesn't necessarily apply. But for those using the default templates, this is something that's really going to help you out in terms of editing the results. All right. The next update that I want to show you all is tied into the desktop app. And most of you probably have this installed, but if you don't do desktop dictation or record your notes from the desktop, you might not actually have the desktop app. You can grab it quickly from the web app. So log into our website, click the rocket ship at the bottom, and you can download the desktop app right here. The desktop app in the menu, 3 dots menu, has always had a feature called My Words. My Words is something that's tied into your desktop dictation experience. So as you do simple dictations with Talkatoo, if it makes a mistake, you can throw it into your My Words library. We've now expanded this, and it reaches all the features. So your call summaries, your auto SOAP notes, whether that you're using a custom note template or you're using a default template. And so you now have the ability to train the AI on words, the AI, not just the dictation aspect of Talkatoo. So this is a huge, huge update. So if you're having trouble with a particular drug name, name of a patient, name of your practice, anything of that nature, download the desktop app, jump into your My Words, and now you can type in a word. So a great use case for this, a good example might be in the room, you might say OU, for example, and when you come and look at your SOAP note, you wind up with OHYOU, God forbid. So in that case, jump into My Words and just type the phrase or word in, hit enter, And this now ties into your AI SOAP notes and your call summaries. You can put up to 40 words in there now. And I think this is going to make a big difference for anyone struggling to get certain medications correct or names correct. I was in a call earlier today with a group, and they were explaining how they dictate a phrase, but they want it to come out as shorthand. So they say millimeters of mercury, and they want it to come out as mmHg. That is not a great use case for MyWords. MyWords is more for emphasizing the spelling of something. So when you say that term, you say OU, you want it to come out capitalized OU. So that's where MyWords comes into play. If you want to switch a phrase into something else, the only way really to handle that currently would be if you use custom notes. So if you're using a custom note template, you could come into the settings page, you could come into your custom notes, and you could add a rule. So custom notes, if you haven't explored it, is where you can get more granular with your templates. So you can provide a template, and then you can also provide some rules. And so the rules can do a lot of things. For example, you could ask the AI here to convert a phrase like millimeters of mercury into mmHg. So lots of cool things you can do with the custom notes. And I just wanted to share that context as you start to add words into your library. When you add something and you want to say it as it's spelled, verbatim, OU. If you're looking to convert one phrase into another word, you'll want to use a custom template. A lot of cool things you can do with these custom note templates. You can ask it to capitalize the abnormal findings, ask it to bold the abnormal findings. You could have it write certain measurements in a particular unit. And you could ask it to write a certain section more detailed or less detailed. So if you're struggling to get the types of results you want out of your custom notes or your AI SOAP notes, explore this option, custom notes, and we can help you with that. So if you book a call with us, we can help you design your template. Fantastic. Great. And so if we now come back to the concept of discharge summaries, you'll see at the bottom of an auto SOAP. So when you select the auto SOAP option, and you can do that on the desktop app right here, you just pick your template option, and same on the mobile app. Before you start your note recording, you can click the words auto SOAP, and you can pick your preferred template. And if you do use auto SOAP, we create a summary for you at the bottom. And if you want to create something more detailed, you can leverage custom notes, and you could come up with a set of discharge instructions, and you can kind of instruct the AI on how to write them. You could even include a character limit. So maybe you want the document to be about 350 characters. You can add that as a rule in the bottom. If you want it to focus on a few specific categories, you can include those in your prompt as well. And so what that looks like, using this regeneration icon, you can turn that SOAP into a detailed discharge document. And in this case, I've designed mine in an email format. And if at the beginning of my recording, before I even entered the room, into my phone, I said the client's name, and I said their contact information, it can plug all of these things into the document. So using regeneration, you can get two things from one recording. You can get your SOAP, and you can get your discharge instructions. And you'll see that mine is a lot longer than the one that is provided by default. And so if this isn't enough, custom notes can give you a lot more. Okay, cool. So now I want to pivot into the call summary feature. And the call summary feature is a pretty awesome tool. Hopefully most people on the call are using it, but if not, I'm going to give you a preview of how it works. And the major benefit of using call summaries is that you can dial your clients from anywhere and display the caller ID of your practice. Call summary tab lives on the far right-hand side of the mobile app. Right now, you can only do this through the mobile app. And don't worry about your cell phone number being visible, because when you set this up, you can choose which caller ID you want to display. And this is very simple. You just dial the client, and you'll get a phone call first. You pick that up, and it connects you with the person that you called. And Talkatoo will record the conversation, and it will summarize it for you into a collection of notes. And it will also provide the transcript as well. So you get all of those things from a single phone call. And the idea is you don't have to take notes on what you talked about. To set this up, you need to verify your number, which is a one-time deal. And you do need to be at the clinic in order to do this. But when you hang up that phone call, you'll get the transcript, you'll get the notes, and you'll get the audio at the bottom, just like your AutoSoap notes. So call summaries is an awesome tool. And you can grab those summaries from the desktop app as well, of course. So anything you can see in the website, you could see here. And it's even easier to find things now in the desktop inbox because we can filter and we can search up by name. And so just like the web app, you can now navigate a lot easier. And then you could potentially drag this out into your practice management software. Some systems allow you to drag drop. Others require you to click copy and then paste. And call summaries should be available to you now. So if you have your account, you're not using it, you can go ahead and navigate into the far right-hand corner of the mobile app and set that up. Awesome. Let's see. So yes, more reminders for everyone. We have what we call the Ideas portal, which lives in our website. You can access this at the bottom of our website. And this is an amazing way for you to share your ideas and feedback with us and help us build the next great feature that will help you save time. So I just want to call your attention to this. There's been a lot of things that we've built because of your votes in this page. And so if you have great ideas or you have feedback, I'd love to see it in here. And I'm going to send everyone the link to it after the call. If you are using the desktop app, you'll want to make sure that you've quit the desktop app and reopened. That will make sure you've got the refresh button right here and all the other updates. And then I also want to mention that we do have some other features that are available for anyone who might want to beta test them. If you're using the AutoSoap template specifically, and you are interested in getting more functionality on top of the updated assessment, we do have subheadings now available for the subjective and the plan. And if you would like to go ahead and turn those on and beta test them, just feel free to reply back to me after the webinar, and we'd be happy to turn those on for you. Also, bold abnormal findings, that's part of the beta test as well. So if you want to turn that on and see if it helps, we're happy to do that as well. Awesome. Okay, so I do have a question from Debbie. And Debbie asked, only one mobile phone can still be used for the call summary on the mobile app. And Debbie, yes. So if you have one license or one user on your subscription, You can only set it up on one cell phone right now. If you have multiple licenses, multiple people can use it. You just attach it to one phone per license that you have. And my friend Rachel asked, does the call feature have a notification to the owner that the call is being recorded? Great question, Rachel. Not yet, but in V2 or V3, so like the next round of updates, we're going to include this because for a lot of folks, it's a bit awkward to tell people once the call has started. So we've heard a lot of feedback on that, and we plan to build that in the next update or second update to Call Summary. Thanks for the question. And Christine, go ahead. You can come off mute if you'd like, if you've got a question.
Yeah, I do actually. Thanks, Jamie. I'm not very good at finding the chat, honestly. I'm useless. So one question about the call summary, which I absolutely love. How do we get it to name it? Because, you know, when you, like for me, I'll usually say, oh, like, Catherine, I'm just calling from the name of our clinic about Zen. And it just says call summary on the, you know, when you go to your inbox. So I was just wondering if that's possible or if it's still to come.
I love that question. And do you look up the call summaries in the web app or in the desktop app? The widget?
Well,
or in the website?
honestly, I have been just using the desktop app because thus far I am so far behind all your updates. I haven't played around with how to do it all on the app, on the cell phone app. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and you'll want to retrieve those either on your computer in some way, right? Either from the desktop widget or from the website. More than likely, you'll want to grab them there. And that's great. I'm really glad you've been using it successfully and that you got it sorted out as well with the Bluetooth issue. Dr. Green was trying to set it up, and when she gets in the car, it connects to Bluetooth, and then it steals the microphone. So she was having issues using it in the beginning, but glad we got that sorted. Right now, so current iteration, we can't do a custom title on it yet, but that's coming in V2 or V3 as well. So that's another great ask for kind of future state of call summary. That as well as like an automated notice that the call is being recorded. And
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm like, I don't want it to do a custom, like to edit the name, but to create a name. You know how when you're recording something, it will create a name from your notes, even if you, so like, will it do that from your first, like, as I said, usually I say the owner's name, although it's the first name from how I do it, and the animal's name. So
yeah, I'm with you. So if you were recording an auto soap note, for example, when you pause the note, you could edit the title, right? And you could do that on the mobile or on the desktop app, and then you could submit the note, and that title should stick. So when you go and grab it in the inbox, it's got that title you added manually. With the call summary feature right now, when you start the call, as soon as you end the call, it generates the results. So there's no opportunity to pause it and edit the title manually. And so what it tends to do is it picks its own title based on what you talked about. And I guess in addition to that, it does tell you what type of note that it is. So it'll tell you, for example, that it's a call summary. And that's a new, like, versus a SOAP note. But the title itself, so it says call summary, and then it'll come up with the title on its own. So you can't change that yet. Although you can edit it once it's loaded up, right? So once it's available to you, if you want to name it, you can do that right here. And you could do the same thing in the website. If you're looking at the result, you can rename it right here. But as you're making it or before you make it, there's not yet a way to title it yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
You got it. And we're working on that. We'll get it done. Okay, awesome. And Roland's asked, are there formatting tools coming to the desktop to easier adjust the notes? Okay, great question. If I understand correctly, are you asking, like, at some point, will we be able to edit the notes in the desktop app here? Is that what you're getting at? Awesome. Not in the immediate future. It sounds like you use the desktop app primarily, right, to get your stuff out versus the website, or maybe not because you can't edit them there yet. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy the new interface if you are using this for the most part. But right now, yeah, you can't edit the notes here just yet. So instead, fastest way to do it would be either drop it into your system, like into your patient file, make the edits there, or open in browser. So you can click this hyperlink at the top, and that will launch it open in the web app. And in the web app, you can make edits here. Of course, you can adjust it in the web version of your inbox. I see, yeah. Yeah, so you can totally do that up here in the web, but when you're looking at the desktop app, you can't do it yet. I'm going to vote on that on your behalf, Roland, because it's definitely something we need to add. And yeah, it's a great question, great feature request. Couple things that we have done, thankfully. We've got to the point where you can generate the discharge at the bottom, the default discharge. And we've got to the point where you can edit the titles, right? You can now search, refresh, and filter. But definitely a couple more updates coming to make this more like the web app. And don't forget, you can copy and archive from here. And this is really handy because you can quickly action these items versus opening them up and clicking the buttons. Awesome. How about bullet points? Okay, cool. So Roland, do you know which template option you use? Is it maybe the colorful one being the auto soap option like this? Custom notes. Okay, so you use a custom note template. Cool. Okay, and if that's the case, you'll just need to edit your custom notes. So you'd come into the settings page, you'd visit your custom notes tab, and then you'll pick from your list, right? You'll pick the one you've made. And then let's say you want the history section, which I've highlighted here. Let's say you want this section written in bullet points. Come down into the rules section, and on a new line, just type write the history section in bullet points. Just like that. And then make sure you've saved it. And next note you do, it should have that section in bullets. Which practice management software do you have, Dr. Roland? Which system do you type your notes into? Okay, I haven't heard of that one. So I'm not sure how the bullet points will show up in there. Hopefully they do. But for some systems, like if you were to copy from our website or from the widget, if you were to copy these bullets, in some systems, namely Cornerstone and Avamark, for example, these won't show up, these bullets. Instead, these rows will show up on their own line with no actual bullet point beside them. So if you're using custom notes, a workaround to that would be, let's say you've asked, write the history section in bullet points. You can at least get it to do hyphens. So each row has a hyphen beside it rather than nothing beside it. And I recently figured this out. This is actually a new finding on my part recently. I was surprised that you can do this, but you can ask it to write the bullet points, write the bullet list using hyphens. And if you ask it to, if you tell it to do not space after the hyphen, then it won't actually convert the hyphen into a bullet point. So there is essentially something going on under the hood where if you do a hyphen and a space, it turns into a bullet point automatically. The bullet point might not transfer to your system, but if you ask the AI to write it without a space, then it will appear like this. And when you copy and paste this, those hyphens stick, which is super interesting. So if you're grappling with that after this call or this week, or you want to dive into that together, let me know and we can set up a quick 5-10 minute call and we can get it working for you, hopefully. So yeah, great question. You got it. Awesome. And I'm going to see if there's anything else. If anyone else has questions, feel free to just come off mute or drop them in the chat. A couple other things that are coming. There's some big bug fixes coming over the next 2 weeks, mainly around recording issues on Android, recording issues on iPhone, and on the desktop app, where a note segment might not upload properly, or you might start a recording and get a white screen. And thankfully, we've got some solutions coming very soon to those issues. But I want to call out, if you're having issues, a really great trick or tip, rather, just restart the app on your phone. And it's not ideal, of course, but like anything, if you can just restart, it tends to fix a lot of the issues. So if you just, on an iPhone, it's swipe up and swipe up again, and shooting it up like that quits the app, and then you can open it again. And that tends to solve the white screen issue that I've unfortunately had seen quite a bit recently. So just want to call that out. Great tip. Cool. Got some more questions now from Corinne. How would you set up a note for multiple pet visits? Great question, Corinne. That's actually a default template now. So if you're recording on desktop from the widget, you can select using the drop-down list, multi-pet note, and that will do a better job than any other default template in terms of preparing SOAPs for multiple people that are talked about in the recording. And same goes for desktop, mobile rather. When you go to record your note, just click the words auto SOAP and change it to the multi-pet option. And that is not perfect by any means. We are looking at improving it. And it really helps if, when you're using that option, you can kind of name each patient that you're referring to as you're doing the exam or making those remarks, because you have to help the AI a bit in terms of kind of directing it to the correct name. But that's how you do it. Just select multi-pet note from the template list. And then a question here from Jean. How can we use the appointment to record a Zoom meeting and convert to text? Great question. So how can you use Talkatoo to help you in meetings, not just exam rooms or at your office computer, but in a meeting? That's a great question. I would say the best way to do it, especially if you've got your phone on you in the meeting room, would be to make a custom note. And you start by coming to the website, logging in, going to your settings page, and coming into custom notes. And here you can make a new custom note. I would probably call this meeting notes, something obvious, right? So you know which template to select. And then you're going to prompt the AI on what you want, right? So what do you want out of this meeting, out of this audio recording? You want it to write me a detailed summary of my meeting. And if you want to break it into certain sections, like maybe you ask it to write sections for next steps, to-dos, whatever you want to break the meeting up into in terms of categories, tell it what those categories are. If you want to keep it open-ended, just start with a prompt like this. And then if you want it in bullet points, you might come down here, write the notes in bullet points, keep it maximum 400 characters. If you want, you could also tell it, make the notes concise. And so this is sort of the framework for building a custom note. At the top, you tell it, what are you doing with the audio? Well, you're giving me meeting notes. And then if you want a particular style or template filled out, give it the template. So you might say, use this template. And same applies for a surgery template, an exotic template, something you're making for your soaps. List the template out, right? Whatever the subheadings are, list them out one by one. You can kind of design it, space it out how you want. And I'm not very good at typing, as you can tell, but drop the structure up here, drop the rules down here, save the option. And Jean, if you're going to do it from your phone, once you've created that custom note, you should see that option here in your list. So before you walk into the meeting room, just select that option. And if you don't see it in here, just restart the app, right? Come back in and it will have loaded up. Great question. Hopefully that helps. And if you need help making one, let me know. Oh, cool. Okay, what if I pre-listed the agenda already? Okay, interesting. I might need a little more context here, Jean. And feel free to come off mute if you can try to help me understand a bit better.
Okay, we do a lot of these. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. We do a lot of these meetings because I'm at Long Island University at the veterinary medical school. So we do a lot of Zoom meetings, but we have a pre-written agenda. So a list of things that we're going to accomplish at the meeting. Would that be put in the notes so that it answers those questions? Because we have, like, let's say we list the first thing that we're going to discuss, the second thing that we're going to discuss, the third thing that we're going to discuss, and then we go back and forth talking about it.
If you want to set it up in advance, you could totally create the note template in advance of the meeting using those sections, right? Those agenda items. But I mean, you might end up with notes that are covering that stuff anyway. And it's up to you if you want to do the work up front to create that prompt, or maybe you want to do it on the back end. So when you get the notes from Talkatoo back and you want to change them a bit, maybe you do the work there. And that would be a great time to leverage the assistant mode of Talkatoo, which is on your desktop. And if you expand your desktop app open and swap to the assistant mode, this is a great place to make edits to existing notes. So if I was in my inbox and I was looking at, let's say I was looking at this note, right? Let's pretend this was a meeting note. And I could copy this. I could drop it into the assistant, and I can get it in here by just pasting it in. So I could do a Control V or Command V. Now my assistant knows what the meeting notes are, right? It can read these, and I can tell it what to do. So I could say, and I could talk in these instructions. I could start dictation, say, break these up into these 3 categories: meds to go home, take home instructions for client, and next steps. And then when I hit enter, and in this case, maybe I'll just give it a different, I'll just say, make this shorter and more concise. Okay, I hit enter, and now it's going to adjust it. And if I asked it to categorize it, it'll do that for me. So you can paste anything in here, whether it's meeting notes or it's a SOAP or anything.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it. And yeah, I want to just give out one more reminder for everybody. My words, this is probably the juiciest update for everybody. If you've struggled with anything, whether it's spelling of a name, spelling of your practice, a drug name, try it in My Words. Just type it in, hit enter, and moving forward in your note inbox, you should see improvements. So just one more reminder on that. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to stick around for the next few minutes, and if anybody wants to talk some more, I'll be here. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for coming, and I'll hopefully see you on the next one.